Hey everyone, welcome to Passetti Homestead. I'm Ryan, this is my wife Jessica,
Hi.
and this is Dolly, our little puppy. It's raining today, you might be able to hear that on the video, but we figured that'd be a good day to stay indoors and do our introduction video of who we are and what we're trying to do on the Passetti Homestead. You didn't know about the Passetti Homestead, so I brought you out here like 10 years ago.
Yes.
When you first came out here, what was your impression?
It was a mess.
It was a complete dump, pretty much. The house we're in, there were holes in the floor when you walked. You had to be careful, or your foot would go straight through to underneath the house. You could see sunlight coming in through the roof, and so we spent a long time. Well, my parents really did with us there, trying to fix the house up on this homestead. Now, for the history of the homestead, this has been in my family since 1797. Every generation has held on to the property. It used to be 650 acres of a homestead, but now there's really about 80 acres left that we're hanging on to. But over the past 35 or so years, it's kind of just been left. My grandparents, they couldn't maintain it. You got inherited by my family, and so now we are living out here and we're trying to fix it up. And so that's what what we're documenting is what we're doing to the property, fixing it up, everything like that. So that's what we're trying to do. So for our plans, we have a few plans that we've already started, things that are kind of small things. We're trying things out first before we do anything big scale. We don't want to put a bunch of trees in and then spend our whole time trying to just keep the trees alive. They don't want to really live comfortably out in our climate. So we're trying things out, and then we're going to do anything large scale that works out. Want to go over some of our first plans that we are doing currently?
Yeah, sure. Currently, we are doing bees, which we have right now 3 hives total.
Want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. The bees are pretty mean.
The first couple years you didn't do the bees at all.
No.
You just now, last year you started getting into it.
Yes.
And now this year you're doing it more full time.
Yeah, I do it more full time, and then it's like every week pretty much.
It's a weekly. You can leave bees alone for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But we check on them every week just to see how they're doing.
And because it's so hot out here, just to make sure they have water or whatever, and that they're doing okay, there's no mites inside. We just check on them every week just because.
This year we have made honey for a few years, but this year we think we missed the big pollen season.
Yeah.
It got so hot, all the flowers died. So now there's not really any pollen from them making any honey, so it looks like we'll have to get a fall harvest, which you have a lot of people upset about that.
I have a lot of people upset. I have a lot of people lined up that like wants the honey.
The honey, yeah. So it'll be a fall honey, but we should get that. Another project that we've kind of already testing out are dado peppers.
Yeah, which have been pretty easy.
Pretty easy. So what have we done with dado peppers?
We planted them and we've let them grow. And that's been about it.
And they started out at
yeah.
that size, and now they're 2 feet tall with plenty of peppers. We're actually about to probably pick those peppers off the plant. If you don't know what a dado pepper is, check out our video. We have one on dado pepper specifically, where we're talking about the history of them, how they got here, and we're making some hot sauce. Some hot vinegar with those. What else are we doing? What's your big project that you do every single week?
The worm farm.
You do the worm. Yeah, we're doing some vermiculture, and so we're doing worms. We figured we do that for a year, build up our worm population, build up the compost and the soil and everything, and then when we put our actual full-scale grove in, we'll have great soil and some earthworms to go along with that, because the soil here is pretty sandy.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty, yeah. So I like the idea of doing the earthworms and having soil that'll be good for it when we actually do go to plant our trees.
Yeah, this place used to be a potato farm and a cattle ranch. So we know they were growing farms here. There's a lot of growth on this property. It's not barren, but it seems that everything that wants to grow is something that you don't want to grow. So we have to just change that into something that we do want to grow. But the water table is pretty shallow, pretty high up high water table here. There's a well that we utilize for watering the plants. But if you dig 3 feet in our ground, you start finding water anywhere.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't take much for plants that have good deep roots to have a good constant source of water all the time without it having to rain every single day. So we have some irrigation that we installed, but we can try to limit using that irrigation and use the natural water table on the land. We have a tree farm,
Yes.
which we kind of inherited.
Yeah.
That was put in by my grandparents, and we've just now been able to start getting some offers to harvest that. We do have a video on harvesting that tree farm. Check that out as well on our channel. That is the one that we haven't had to do really any work besides just clear it out and get it set up clean, put trails in for the big trucks to get into it. That was kind of inherited, already in place. So now we're just harvesting, and then we can see what we can get out of that. And then, what's next?
We also have muscadine grapes,
Okay, which your dad loves.
which my dad loves, and I absolutely love. Muscadine grapes are grapes with like a really thick skin, and you can't eat the skin. You kind of have to bite the grape and then let the inside come out.
I mean, it's
and then throw the skin out.
the skin's
But
like
it's really good.
The skin's like a thin piece of leather.
Yeah.
And which actually is great because it actually helps the grape handle the really hot temperatures we have here in St. Augustine. They're native to the area, so they know they grow wild. We actually have wild grapevines just in the woods, naturally growing all over the place, and it actually keeps the insects out. The skin's so thick, the insects can't actually penetrate to get to the fruit.
Yeah.
The only thing you have to really worry about are raccoons and squirrels getting to them. But besides that, pests don't get to them. They don't dry out in the hot sun. They just do well on their own. So that's been really easy to get that started. Something else that we see that works, so next year we want to expand on it. And so that's something every year we get a little bit bigger on that. We have 2 rows of citrus trees. It's kind of a combination of different things. We're looking at tangerines, grapefruits, wild oranges, which are really bitter and sour. They're tart, kind of like an orange, like a lemon, not like a orange you would get in the grocery store.
Yeah.
But these are growing naturally out here as well.
Lemons.
We have a creek that you just find these natural orange trees growing, but they're really sour. Still trying to figure out what to do with them once we grow them.
Yeah.
But it's something that we know we can grow easily out here on the land. And then another project that we're doing is just the actual land clearing. Nothing was here or taking care of it for decades. So now we're clearing the land out. We've done a lot ourselves, but we've had to get some professionals for some of the really big stuff. But clearing the land for future projects and for our house that we want to do.
Has been the priority.
Yeah. Because we're still living in this house that we fixed up, and then we're going to put another house on the property. So for future plans, it's pretty much expanding on what we've done to bigger, once we're in our house, we can expand on it and keep track and better monitor everything.
Yeah, expand on the fruit trees, keep them all in kind of one area, and then organize them to where the area is kind of sectioned out to the fruit and how every fruit like kind of lays out.
It's got to organize, yeah. And the land clearing is geared mainly towards expanding what works.
Yeah.
What's going on. But I mean, it's an old cattle and potato farm, so the fencing is already in place. Like there's already corrals and fencing already in place and everything. So that actually made it a lot easier. We don't have to try to fence everything; it's already there.
Yeah.
Now livestock. I want to do chickens still. You're scared of chickens and living things. So anything that lives, you're scared of, except for Dolly.
Except for Dolly.
But chickens is a good introduction animal. I mean, I'm like bees and worms. Yes, they're living things like animals, but chickens, the first kind of livestock kind of project. Our neighbor is doing chickens. They've had great success with them, no issues.
Yeah, they have.
And so we've been kind of looking at them, seeing how they do, but been low maintenance. And chickens are a good introduction kind of animal to do.
Yeah. It seems like what most homesteads do first is chickens.
If you're going to try something,
Yeah,
don't
it's
get
like try
don't get
chicken and see how they are.
don't do the four-legged animals yet.
No,
No,
yeah.
start with the chickens and then see how you're doing. And then expanding on the fruit grove. All the fruit that does do well, we're just going to expand on that fruit. Anything that doesn't do well on its own or just doesn't like the climate, we didn't invest a lot into it this year, so we don't have to worry about it
Yeah.
or about the loss on that.
Expanding on the bees as well.
Yeah,
Get
I
more
mean,
hives.
the bees, they expand on their own, so you can just keep growing from each hive and splitting them every year. But that's kind of our future plans for this site. Now, as far as living, the second part of this whole experience is that we are going to be building or buying a tiny home to live in. We already have this house here, so we have no issue for entertaining or guests coming over. That extra space you need if someone's here or whatever like
Yeah.
that. So we figured if it's just us, we don't need a lot of space. Now the question is, do we do a tiny home on wheels that's RV rated, or do we do a tiny house on a slab foundation? And so
Yeah.
our tiny house on wheels, we know the one structure alone would not be enough, especially with all the projects we're doing, to house everything for the projects we need.
Yeah.
And so we would do a tiny house on wheels and then do a couple sheds, kind of like a compound, and then maybe make those insulated, temperature controlled, depending on what we do with those structures. RV would be much simpler. It's just RV. You can buy it, move it here, don't need any permitting, just put it on the site and you're done. Just plug it in and you're going.
It's too easy.
It's very easy, but you're restricted in how you build your house and everything. It is tight. The other idea is a tiny house, but pretty much designed just the way this house is without as much of the house.
Right.
We're going to take off. We know we've been living in one bedroom for a year and a half now. One bedroom, year and a half, with one bathroom and a small kitchen. The rest of the house we don't use.
Yep.
So why not just design it the exact same way, and then we can keep the vibe and feel of this property so it looks what am I looking for? We're respecting all the generations that have been here before.
That's a good word for it.
Who have kept it up,
Yeah.
through from 1797 through the Seminole Wars, through the Civil War, through the Great Depression, keeping this land and keeping it going and things like that, honoring that. I mean, part of this house was the original cabin from 1797. So we want to keep that feel and look to it. Respect all the ancestors, ghosts, spirits, whatever's out here. Don't upset them by putting something in that they're just completely unhappy with. So, how do you feel about the tiny house?
I feel like doing the house that kind of mimics this one is, like you said, is respectable for the property. If we did a tiny house on wheels, I feel like we could kind of mimic the same look, at least on the outside. Doing an RV, you kind of have to take it as they come.
Yeah. It's not an RV though. It's not like the RV with the standouts and things like it's an actual tiny home. It's an actual tiny house built by a tiny house company on wheels. But the way Florida law works, it's considered an RV because it is on wheels still. It would be, you can make it look like the same style, but
I also feel like the tiny house with 2 sheds is really unique, as long as it's done well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, if you do a tiny house on a foundation, we can still get that shed or whatever we need it. Something else. So we've seen some tiny houses that we like. We've gone to tiny house conventions, which are usually the ones on wheels. We really like them. They're really well done and designed. It's just really easy to write them a check, get it, you're done, no mortgage,
have them deliver
you're finished.
Yeah.
The one on slab foundation, it's going to be a lot more work, permitting.
Time.
It's going to be more expensive, time to build, but when you're actually in it, does it last longer? Are you happier with an actual living house environment?
Everything in one house.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, that's what we're doing here. We really hope you find this interesting enough to follow us on our journey, homesteading and tiny house living. Are you ready?
See what happens.
See what happens? The first year was pretty much practice everything.
Yeah, the first year was getting out here and getting comfortable.
Getting comfortable,
See what kind of
practice
space
everything.
we can live in.
Our jobs and
Yeah.
everything like that. And now that we're here, just really start focusing on that. So please check out our videos that are coming out. Anything else to say?
Stay tuned, you guys. This should be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for all of us, especially Dolly. She'll be
Yeah.
very interested in all this. Oh, thanks for joining in. Check out our other videos here. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram. We'll be doing posts constantly, letting you know where we are and where we stand in our development.
Like and subscribe. See you guys next time. Thanks again for watching, guys. Look out for more videos coming soon.
If you enjoyed that, please check out our other videos as well as subscribing to our channel. Thanks.
Bye.